EU, they're angry, my friend.
Nailed it.
I shouldn't say angry. I should say that they are swinging the gavel of antitrust heavily, and I mean heavily, in the direction of Googs.
Yep. I mean, as we pointed out in the past, justice moves slowly in the European Union, so we'll see what happens. But
Yep, but they're basically complaining that their ad tech business is anti-competitive, and it should be broken up. We'll see.
Love it. Yeah, yeah.
We'll see.
There is a kind of a new appetite in antitrust for, what do you call it? When you take away like a previous acquisition or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
You know what else is interesting is what's in your top left corner. I think I left the mouse hovering over something, so now there's a...
I don't see it.
Well, I think it shows up on the video. But we'll see.
Oh,
Whatever.
Okay. I don't actually see it. I'm sorry.
You know what you should
just
say
happy
about
we
that,
started
Paul?
a Teams meeting without getting interrupted by a Microsoft feature request,
Well, we're going to interrupt this for a segue to today's sponsor. Fortress Alert Logic offers the most comprehensive managed detection and response coverage for public cloud, software as a service, on-premises, and hybrid environments. To learn more about Alert Logic, visit alertlogic.com. You got to say with emphasis the .com part. That's the...
No, I like it. EU is also going after AI, by the way.
Yes.
I like the clear-headed speaking on that topic. I think I'm not going to try to pronounce her name, but the European Commissioner, I guess we'll call her, said that this isn't about the extinction of the human race. It's about discrimination. It's like, there you go. Kind of lower the bar a little bit there. We're all entertained by the notion of the Terminator-like Skynet end game for AI, but maybe we set our sights a little lower, And then, I can't believe you didn't lead with this. I think this is the big news. The FTC on Monday filed to block the merger, get a temporary injunction against Microsoft and Activision Blizzard.
Yep.
Today or last night or whenever it happened, a U.S. District Court judge granted that request. The net result being that the hearing that was going to happen at the end of August has now been moved up to next week. That means it could still happen before the close of Microsoft's fiscal year on June 30th.
Yeah, they initially, if all things were approved, they were supposed to, pulling the dump truck up to Activision is probably not sufficient. Pulling up the freighter, I don't know. The train of cash to Activision was supposed to happen on July 18th. That was the official day that it happened. So in theory, maybe they can ram this thing through. So this was fully expected and actually plays perfectly into Microsoft's hand, So we'll see.
Well, I mean, Microsoft kind of forced the issue, right? I think they leaked information that, like, if we could just consummate this deal and then they can fight it after the fact, which nobody wanted. Well, nobody outside of Microsoft wanted. And like I described it as a flight risk yesterday. I think, they basically were forced to file this thing, and that this moves not the jurisdiction, but the place where this will be heard, so to speak, now moves into the federal court system, and they've expedited it. Obviously, it's happening next week, so that's great, And by the way, I think we can all, well, I don't know, I think we can all surmise that if somehow this magically gets pushed through the U.S. government. Extruded, as you will, through the legal system.
Yes, that is. It reminds me of like Play-Doh, like when you're a little kid and you push that little lever down.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my cats do when they go into the couch. They kind of extrude themselves under it somehow. It's very strange. Anyway, it's a weird thing to watch. Yeah, they will just ignore the UK and say we're doing it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's my Operation guess. Ramrod at that point. Just kind of.
That's me. Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's...
We'll see.
Yeah, the nice thing is we should know. Well, here's what's going to happen is they're going to go to the court and be like, well, we need more time, and then it's going to delay this thing out. But in theory, we could know by the end of this month whether or not this thing is gonna make its way through.
Leaving aside the problem of the law keeping up with technology, I think the problem with antitrust in general is that it's sort of in the eye of the beholder. And what I mean by that is that if you say something like, well, Microsoft has a monopoly in personal computer operating systems, you'd be like, wait, well, hold on a second. What are you talking about? Like, there's more people using iPhones, there's more people using Android. And then you can say, okay, Microsoft has a monopoly on operating systems on desktop PCs and laptops. And then you're like, I mean, they have a maybe, you know, like you can basically define the market, you know, and the definition here that matters, I think, is whether cloud gaming, cloud streaming of games is a market, or is it just another way to play games, right? I mean, and I think I would argue, and I'm sure Microsoft, well, I know actually Microsoft literally has argued, it's not a market. And if it is a market, it's a tiny market, and it doesn't need to be regulated. But if you take it as part of the wider gaming market or whatever, there are these, it's like spokes in a wheel. There's all these different ways people do things. The spoke for cloud gaming is so small, it doesn't even deserve the pixel that it takes to draw it. You know, it's a tiny thing. So I don't know.
The question becomes, does it ever become something greater than that tiny thing?
Yes. Well, let's say it does. Let's say it grows exponentially. Let's say it becomes one of the biggest ways to game. It becomes one of the top 3 ways to game. Microsoft's argument, and this is correct, is that we're still number 3 in this scenario. Like, yes, we have improved our lot. Things are better for us. Things should be better for us. We spent $69 billion on this thing, but we didn't displace any of the market leaders. Casual gaming is still going to be a much bigger deal on mobile, and that's Apple and Google. Console gaming is still going to get destroyed by Sony by 3 to 4 to 1. That doesn't change. PC gaming, I don't know what the figure was. What did they say? We're going to have $1 billion. It's going to be $1 billion market on Microsoft. Is going to have $1 billion PC gaming market by the end of the year. Steam, Epic, everything else.
Yep.
So what exactly did we change? Yeah. Now they're like a dominant player in what is a bigger market. Great. But they're the only company that has taken the time and effort and has spent the money to build that market. No one else is doing this. No one else to this degree, to this scale. So are you just going to deny it to them? Like, you're going to say that's just not okay? I mean, I don't understand. There's no logical argument against this.
Well, the
by the way, that scenario
that you haven't mentioned,
is fantastical.
That I still think is their best argument, regardless of whatever it is like, hey, look, we're the only company right now that stands to be able to build a competing mobile app store that can have games.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's going to require other regulation, right?
Yep. But it feels like it's right around the corner, though.
Yeah. No, I agree. And yeah, God knows whether it's Microsoft or whatever else, but something needs to come in and say, here's an app store on iOS and Android where we charge you 3% or 4%, just like, or 15% or whatever, some smaller number. And we'll see how that looks. You know, at least competition will occur. Doesn't mean I don't really honestly see the native app stores being displaced anytime soon. But here again, Microsoft could create, as part of their multi-pronged strategy for gaming, another outlet for games. And certainly eliminate the need for Apple to get a chunk of every single game it streams through Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is freaking ludicrous. So anyway, we can kind of debate whether this will happen. I think, frankly, right? That's absolutely open for debate. Whether this makes sense or should happen, technically, obviously, you can debate anything, but there's no good argument against this. And honestly, what it really amounts to is what Sony eventually said to Activision Blizzard, which is, yeah, we just don't want this to happen. Yep, I get it. You know, and there are people out there who just can't stand Microsoft owning a market, even though it's a stupid market. That's, by the way, never going to be one of the top 3 ways we game. Sorry. I can't. I'm worried about the quality of my internet connection to do this call on a day that's raining. You think I'm going to be doing all of my gaming? I have a gigabit download here. Cloud gaming is still kind of laggy and latency based. You know, it's a problem. So I get we're all afraid of this, but relax. It just doesn't work that great. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm just saying that Season 4 drops today for Call of Duty Warzone. New map.
I know,
Should be a
man.
good time.
I know, so I'm not playing Call of Duty, as you may know. And do you know this? Have we talked about this?
A little bit, yeah.
I haven't played Call of Duty since March 2nd, and I just saw the stuff about the new season. And one of the maps, I just forgot the name of it. It's that map with the building with the four. I think it's called Showdown or something like Showdown.
Might be right.
Something like that. It's classic map. And from one of the Modern Warfare's, 1 or 2, I think. I don't remember, but classic. And I see that and I'm like, but this is the problem with Call of Duty for me, right? I should have 12 of those maps, and every 4 months they're like, here's a map. I mean, I know there are other maps, but some of the drops have been really light on multiplayer. This one, I think there were 4 or 5 maps actually, was so good, but only one of them is like one of these awesome classic maps that I actually do want to play. And it's like, what is this? What is this drip thing you're doing to me? Like this, or water torture thing? Like, are you seriously doing this? This is what we're gonna here's a little, it's just not enough.
Yeah. Well, they're dropping a new Resurgence map, which is all that I care about, and it's going to be in Amsterdam, so that'll be fun.
Oh, that's fine. Although the Amsterdam multiplayer map is one of my least favorite.